All right, I'm looking at the Fibble. This is the game that's just like Wordle, but on every row, one of the clues is a lie. They're starting us with blush, which is interesting because I'd like to have the yellows and greens be true, but you're not going to do USL, so it would have to be L something US. We could do louse. That would be good. Oh, blush would have 0 lies. Right. Of course, because if the yellows and greens are true, one of the grays has to be a lie, and I have hard mode turned on, so it won't let me do. So we need to do H probably. Is louche or losh or laugh would almost work, but I don't think louche is a word, so we can't actually do that. So what do we want to do? We could do the L as the lie, and then we could do oh, I don't know what would that be. Because if we do the L as the lie, then we can't do an H at the end. We could do like a T or something, or an E. Well, one thing we can probably say before we even make a guess is if the H or the B were the lie, then these other three would have to be true. And as we've shown, I don't think that'll work. So I think the grays have to be true. So that's something that we could say right away. You know what? You know what would work is false. And it's the lying game. We got to guess false when we have the opportunity to. Okay. So, wow. That was actually really good. We didn't get any contradictions, but we know at least 3 of these 4 yellows and greens are true. So, okay, let's start with could the F be the lie? Well, I think it's going to be really hard. The LA, you got either LAES with an F, or you've got to do FAESL or EA. Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. That can't be the lie. That has to be true. If the S is the lie, it's the lie twice, which is possible, of course, but then you've got AU, and the E has to be true, which has to be at the beginning or there, and that's not great. So I don't think the S can be the lie. I think that has to be true. If the A and the U are both true, then the L is the lie, which maybe there's no L. That's possible, but then if the L is the lie, if there's no L, then again, we've got the same problem with the AU and the E. So then if one of the L's is the lie because it's green, then it's either LUS, but then the A is the lie and we need an E at the beginning. I don't think that works. So I don't think this can be a lie because it's green. I already decided I don't think I don't think the L's can be lies because there's no L. Because it would have to be EAUS. So if this was the lie because it was green, you'd have ALS, there'd be no U. That would work, but you've still got the problem of the... Wait. Go back to... yeah, no, the A is the lie, right? If we do L here, then the A is the lie, so we do have the E problem. Okay. ALS, and the E, it has to be this, which I don't think works. So I don't think the L's can be lies, which means the U is the lie. Now, it's probably the lie because it's not in the word. But again, like I said before, you're not going to do SL, so it's got to be L, probably LAS, and then maybe no E, or there is an E at the end. It could be the lie because it's supposed to be at the end. Lapse. Did I have a lapse in judgment? Okay, well, one of the A's is a lie, so the green S's are definitely true. The yellow E's are definitely true. There is definitely an L. So, and at this point, we're pretty sure that A is actually the lie. So maybe there's no A either. But I think the L has to be at the beginning, which means it's the lie. So now I'm thinking this, leash. It's gonna be, no, there's no H, least. Least. Oh, man. All right, well, at least I did get it fairly quickly with 3 guesses, but it took a decent amount of thinking to even come up with lapse as a guess. I just had a lapse in ideas there, but I wanted to I like to kind of think through things, and especially early on when I've got some information, you know, figure out what's true and what's not instead of just randomly guessing things. And all the things I was checking were turning out to not work, so. At any rate, we got there in 3 guesses, not too bad. So let me know how your solve went, and of course, be sure to subscribe for more.